Two kung fu experts, one without arms and one without the use of his legs, seek revenge on the man who injured them. Special guest Daron from Board Games Are for Losers joins us to chat about Portuguese subtitles, the sound of punching air, and beating up the comic relief. Then we see if the Crippled Masters stands the test of time.
Test of time, James and Alan have their say. Do the movies you love still hold up today? James says gladiator with a glut. Alan says as a father, blah blah. It's the test of time, James and Alan have their say. Do the movies you love still hold up today? Test of time, James and Alan have their say. Do the movies you love still hold up today?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Test of Time. My name is Alan Noah. Your name is James Brief, and we've got a very special guest coming back on the show. It's our friend Daron from Board Games Are for Losers.
Daron.
Hi, good to be back. Although, with the complication of ordering dinner tonight, I'm regretting my decision to come back.
It wasn't that complicated.
It was pretty complicated. We spent about 20 minutes on a text conversation ordering Chinese food. But either way, I guess it's good to be back.
Good. Well, I'm glad that you're back. It's been a minute since you were last here. We had you on in December/January 2023, 2024 when we did our Die Hard trilogy.
Yes.
So it's been a while, but we were excited to have you back on, and we were kicking around some different movies, and then you picked this movie, and that was not on my bingo card. I mean, I'd never heard of it. Where did this movie come from?
I want to first address the elephant in the room, which is the title of the movie, obviously.
Right.
We all realize it's offensive.
Yes.
You no longer can use the word master. You have to call it an owner suite. All right, so we're gonna call this movie the Crippled Owner Suite.
Okay. I mean, I will say it's not a word that you should use. I don't think it is the kind of word that you can't ever say, you know, like the N word, the R word, the F word. I'm not going to call it the C word.
That's a different word.
That is a different word. Like, we haven't discussed who's going to do the intro for the episode. If it's me, I'll say it then. You know, if we have to say it once or twice when referring to the title, fine. I'm going to try to avoid it as much as possible because, yes, to your point, it is an offensive, outdated term. We can use other words.
Okay. No, I'm going to use it a lot. But Anyway, so why did I pick this movie? So remembering back, I think it was in high school, my friend Saad worked at a video store that when they still existed. It was called Hollywood Video. I think we got free movies. Hopefully they don't listen to this and fire him now retroactively. That was 25 years ago.
I've got good news for you. They've long gone out of business.
Oh, okay, good. So we got on kicks of different types of movies or different actors. And the first was an Eddie Griffin kick. So we went through him, and I don't even remember any of his movies. They were all pretty terrible.
I remember Undercover Brother had some comedic parts. I haven't seen that movie in years.
Yes. Talk about another offensive title. We won't do that one this time, but
okay.
So we would get on kicks of the movies, and one time we got into a kick of kung fu movies. So we'd rent all these old kung fu movies, and I remember two from that time. One was called Drunken Master, and the plot of that was the guy could only do kung fu when he was drunk, and this movie, Crippled Masters. This stood out because of the idea that these two actors were able to perform these kung fu stunts. It was pretty impressive. I remember distinctly parts of the film. So when you asked me for a movie, I was like, let's do something crazy.
Okay. I'd never heard of this movie. Had you heard of this movie, James?
Never heard of this film.
Well, James, why don't you give our listeners who very likely have also never heard of this movie a recap of what it's all about?
Sure. This movie begins with the arms of Li Ho being chopped off under the orders of Tang. Both Li Ho and Tang work for Lin Chang Kao, a crime lord. Li Ho ends up at a farm where he learns to live without arms. Meanwhile, Lin Chang Kao, he pours acid on Tang's legs, rendering them non-functional. Tang encounters Li Ho, who wants revenge, but the two men then meet an old man who trains them both in martial arts so that they can get revenge on Lin Chang Kao. But Lin Chang Kao hires Ho to be his guard and kill Li Ho and Tang. Luckily, Ho is an undercover government agent sent to find the 8 jade horses, treasures which can teach hidden kung fu techniques. Li Ho and Tang, with Ho's help, steal the jade horses, and the old man discovers the secret. They show Li Ho and Tang how they can combine their strengths. They then team up in battle and defeat Lin Chang Kao.
Okay. I guess I'll ask the question I always ask. How did this movie do at the box office, James?
There's absolutely no information about this, even a specific release date. It was sometime in 1979. It certainly didn't get a wide American debut at any point. I mean, if you watched it, it probably existed elsewhere. And there were 2 sequels to this film starring these 2 gentlemen. It has nothing to do with this film. It's a sequel in title only. I actually read the synopses. They're ridiculous. But yeah, I have no idea, but it probably made a couple bucks.
I think that's a first on the test of time when you have absolutely no data.
Yeah, that's true. It's just an extremely low budget. I read about how...
Well, you don't know. You have no idea what the budget is.
That's true.
You're assuming...
I'm assuming it's low budget.
It's a safe bet, but you don't know for sure.
That's true.
We all watched the movie. We know it's low budget, all right? I don't know. Did you guys watch the same version I did where the subtitles... So it's dubbed from, I'm guessing, Mandarin to English.
Yeah.
And then the subtitles were in Portuguese.
No, I watched it on Fossum.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, right. I mean, I sent the link. I didn't have the captions on. You couldn't adjust them from Portuguese?
I don't know. I didn't try. It actually helped me sometimes understand because I know enough Spanish to understand some of the Portuguese, I guess.
I feel like that would be so confusing.
Yeah, it was very confusing. What's funny about James's recap is I had no idea what anybody's name was during the movie. So when I was making my notes, I referred to them as armless guy, legless guy, evil master, the other guy, the goon. So it's interesting to hear the names because I had no idea what anybody was called throughout.
Not even black and white, the thugs. They are referred to as black and white several times.
Right. The one guy has white paint on his face and the other guy's dressed in all white and the other guy's dressed in all black. Yes, I knew those 2 names.
Right. And the guy named Black is not dressed in blackface, thankfully.
Yes, because that would be offensive.
Exactly. This movie didn't need to be any more offensive.
For the record, in case any of our listeners want to watch this movie, I watched it on this obscure website called YouTube. The whole thing's on YouTube. Why don't you guys go to all these great lengths?
I mean, it wasn't going to great lengths. It was just a different streamer.
I went to the link you sent me and it kept freezing and it just wasn't good quality for me. So I'm like, all right, I'll find it somewhere else. And I just went to YouTube and the whole thing was there right away.
I appreciate you telling me that now after I watched it in my phone in the hotel room instead of on the TV, which had YouTube.
I found it on Fossum and I texted both of you that. You found it on YouTube and did not text us. So thanks, jerk.
I mean, I tried to watch it the way you sent it, and then this isn't working. I figured, maybe he didn't check YouTube, and oh well.
Were you getting very long ad breaks?
Yes.
And you watched it on your phone, you said?
Yes.
Okay. I watched it in 2 halves. The first half I watched on my TV on the Fire Stick, and I was getting crazy long 4+ minute ad breaks. Each one had the same commercial repeated in the same ad break 2 or 3 times. It was trying to get me to buy a lot of jewelry. But then when I watched the second half, I watched it on my Fire tablet, both Amazon Kindle Fire. But that one, the ad breaks were really short. They were 20 seconds, download Amazon Music, listen to true crime podcasts. It was way better.
Yeah, so I had the short ad breaks, and it was all for Fossum's app. So I was watching this saying, watch other movies. I was like, yeah, I get it. There's other movies on this app. So I don't know. I mean, I downloaded the app, so I guess I'll watch other movies if you ever have me back on again.
Of course we will. All right, well, let's start by talking about the 2 actors. Frankie Shum plays Li Ho and Jackie Chan plays Tang. And these 2 actors are, in real life, disabled. The thing about Li Ho is the movie starts with his arms being cut off. And I get it, you're not supposed to think about this, but there's a disfigurement on his left side that clearly is a result of a birth defect.
Did you guys see what it was?
Thalidomide.
Did you guys know? Yeah, so that's one of these horror stories from the mid-20th century. There was this drug, thalidomide, and it cured gastritis and nausea. And it was one of these antacids, and actually worked very well for what it did. And then it was marketed, and what a nightmare. It was marketed as a morning sickness, nausea, cure. And what it did is cause this horrific birth defect. Yeah, this was clearly thalidomide.
So, James, I wanted your medical opinion on how that movie started. First of all, it jumped right into it. Like the first second, the arm's being chopped off. The other arm gets chopped off. And then he's just kind of walking around and like they kick him out of town and he's not bleeding at all. Is that medically possible what just happened to him?
No, the only way to do that would be to immediately cauterize that with some horrific burn from some hot iron.
I don't even think he passed out at all. I think he was just like they threw him out and he was just walking down the street.
It's not clear when this movie takes place. Is it modern times but in a remote area? Is it ancient times? We don't know. Nobody says the word hospital in this movie. Nobody says the word doctor in this movie. So yeah, I mean, after having your limbs chopped off, you would pass out, the blood loss. I mean, he just kind of stumbles around a little bit and then walks into town and goes to a restaurant. Clearly, that's not how it would go. And we don't find out what he did that caused him to piss off Lin Cheng Kao so much that he wanted to chop off his arms. The same thing with Tang later, why he pours acid on his legs. It kind of seems to me like there should be some reason given, even if it's a bad reason that establishes this guy as an awful piece of shit. Fine, cool, but I felt like there needed to be something.
Yeah, that was totally missing from it. Obviously, they established that master, I don't know his name, the master is evil, right? He laughs evil, he has that evil look, he chops off some guy's arms, he burns the other guy's legs. They provide no explanation for it, and I kind of was just like, okay, whatever. But I would have liked one.
Right. And he has a huge scar on his face, so maybe he was disfigured, which is why he disfigures others, maybe. But that's just making up things and filling in blanks, because none of that's in the movie.
It's in the novelization.
Is it?
Yes.
Did you have that in Portuguese also?
Yes, that's why it's hard to read.
Uh-huh. Okay. The movie takes some turns in the beginning where he meets this coffin maker, and it's like, oh, he's going to spend some time with the coffin maker.
Nope.
That is not the thing. Then he ends up on this farm. He's eating from a trough, and the guy who works there says he needs to have courage if he's going to survive. And then it cuts right to a montage of him being awesome at having no arms. Like, he's just great at it right away. And I think, honestly, what the movie is doing is taking a shortcut because we, the viewer, know that this guy was born without arms. So we assume that he is good at doing all of these things and carrying things and using his legs and his feet and everything. So you're not supposed to question it, I guess, but it's definitely a narrative shortcut.
The montage just needed to show him struggling for one or two scenes and then quickly move into him doing a better job working around the farm.
I kind of like that the montage was not a martial arts montage. It was like, oh, he knows how to pour tea and he's learning how to do this. And that's just very impressive, all these things he could do.
Sure. Then there's Tang, who has acid poured on his legs for some reason. He did something. Did they say he knows too much?
Yes, they said he knows too much.
Okay. I mean, if this is ancient times and there's no hospitals and there's no doctors, you're kind of condemning this guy to death, but doing it in a slow, painful, torture way. And when Lee Ho meets up with Tang, he obviously wants revenge, but then they meet this old man who's like, I can teach you both kung fu. And then there's another montage which shows very little training. Like, the old man doesn't do much training, teaching, mentoring. It's just the two guys doing cool, impressive stuff. What they're doing is great, but yeah, you just don't see the old man teaching him anything.
I think the old man's role was to make sure that the armless guy didn't kill the legless guy. That was it. He's telling him, like, look, you need to work together. The true enemy is the evil master. He was the one that did this for whatever reason, we don't know.
Right.
But yeah, he wasn't like a sensei. He wasn't teaching them karate. He was more just like, hey, you two need to harness the strengths that you can have, work together, and defeat this guy.
Right. My favorite part of the montage is when they're working together with the large stone on top of the guy who's in the well. Lee Ho is using his legs and Tang is using his arms to not fall down into the well. And I assume those things that look like big, giant, heavy rocks or styrofoam or something quite light, I hope, but it's still an impressive thing that they're able to do.
It's unbelievably impressive. If you're talking about the same scene where basically Tang, he walks up to bamboo bars with just his arms. Is that the part you're talking about?
That's in that montage.
Right. Try dragging yourself across parallel bars. It's incredibly impressive, anyone doing that. It was a cool montage to kind of just show these two actors are fantastic in their physical abilities.
Absolutely. But then the movie gets into a lot more fighting, like actual kung fu. I'll ask you, Daron, what did you think of the kung fu in the movie?
Well, obviously the sound effects during the kung fu scenes were terrible.
I'm going to correct you there. Sound effect. Singular.
Because it was just...
Nope, you're making different sound effects.
Right. It was just...
It's one thing over and over.
Right.
No, and then it did go ping when it hit the guy's back because he had some piece of metal in his back that I never understood. So
Right.
Ping.
But the pish pish, which I guess is what we're going with here, it happens when they punch faces, arms, legs, back, the ground, air, when they kick and miss. It's the same effect over and over again. And it is distracting.
I didn't mind the one sound punch. I didn't mind it that much. It's kind of a thing, and it's almost like it's a satire to do that thing today.
What's funny is I think the Portuguese subtitles had different words for the sounds too. So
That's
really
amazing.
Also, though, the way that they move, it looks like an 8-bit video game. It's a move and a pause, then a move and a pause. It looks choreographed, but it seems like a bad way to fight where you would want to go fast and keep punching or kicking as opposed to just pausing after every move.
I was thinking about that, like the choreographed nature of the battles. And I was thinking back to other kung fu movies like Rush Hour with Jackie Chan, or even let's go with Cobra Kai. It's done in a similar way where the moves are deliberate. The fighting is not like wrestling. It's more of throw a punch, it's blocked. It's very slow and choreographed. And I wonder if that's just done. I don't know how real kung fu works. I've never fought in a kung fu match. We can try that today if you'd like.
I don't know kung fu. I had done taekwondo years ago. The thing about taekwondo is that you use your hips a lot. It's not just punching. You throw your hips and the punch, so you're doing a lot more momentum. Perhaps that wouldn't be a good martial art for someone who doesn't have legs. But I wish that they explained, something. This is why your punch is great, even if you don't have the legs here, because you don't need it for this particular martial art. And here, this style works really well for someone who has legs but doesn't have the best upper body strength, and that would be totally believable whatever they say. And actually they kind of have the perfect MacGuffin in this film, the jade horses.
Yep.
And it's gonna have this secret kung fu style in it, which in the end kind of tells them to work together,
which they had already learned earlier.
Right. I'm telling you, I wish that there was even this weird MacGuffin like the crane kick. It doesn't necessarily work in real life, like Mr. Miyagi said, that when done right, it's unblockable, except in Karate Kid Part 2. But I wish they had said something more Karate Kid-like that I would just believe.
Also, the MacGuffin of the 8 jade horses, that's introduced really late in the movie.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, it's more frustrating because the secret of these horses, when arranged in a certain way, is work together. And yeah, that happened an hour earlier in the movie. They learned that.
At that point, I didn't care, right? The whole plot of the movie to me was the revenge plot. These two guys wanted revenge on the person that harmed them. That's all you needed. The 8 jade horses was almost a distraction. It didn't matter.
Well, the ultimate move that they do at the climax when Tang is on the ground, and then he does some kind of like jump with his body, and Lee Ho catches him on his back, and then they're able to basically literally work together, and they have a guy with great arms, and they have a guy with great martial art legs, and they're able to get their revenge. But I wish that was the secret. Like, it seems like only someone with arms like yours, Lee Ho, will be able to lock someone in the right way. Like, you're the perfect person. You two are almost the chosen ones for this. Like, it could be something kind of a little bit more special. But at the end of the day, it's just, martial art moves.
Right. I guess the problem would be they would have had to anticipate that 2 guys with disabilities would have found these jade horses. And there would be no way to make a proper thing, a move that would anticipate, well, one guy doesn't have legs, one guy doesn't have arms. In that case, here's what you need to do.
And we will make 8 jade horses for 1 man without arms and 1 man without legs. Obviously, that would be 8 jade horses. How else would you do that?
Well, actually, you just need to just chop off some guy's arms and throw acid on another guy's legs, and you can create the ultimate Kung Fu master.
That's your solution for literally everything.
That was what made the text chain about getting dinner so complicated.
Absolutely.
There's also this other character named Ho. The main bad guy's henchman finds him outside of what I assume is a brothel.
Definitely a brothel, yeah.
Right? He goes to the brothel and asks if there have been any men without arms or legs who have visited the brothel, and the madam is like, no, even if they did come, they wouldn't be able to use our services. It's like, does she not know how sex works?
I don't. Can you please explain it to me?
I will do that after we're done recording.
Perfect.
But if they don't have arms and they don't have legs, they could still have sex.
Let's look to the doctor for that.
When your arms get chopped off, normally you die. So
you couldn't have
so
sex.
Basically, it will be tough to have sex in that situation. But in a situation where you cauterize those wounds, usually the penis is salvaged.
I was going to have my kids listen to this episode, but clearly I can't now.
I don't think that's a good idea. But the right-hand man, his name is Pow, he hires Ho to kill Lee Ho and Tang. Also, there's another plot thread where the evil master gives Pow 3 days to find where Lee Ho and Tang are, and then that just is abruptly dropped as soon as he finds Ho. Whatever. But Ho is revealed to then be like a secret government agent, and he's looking for the 8 jade horses. He has a really funny line when Pow is trying to recruit him and hire him, and he's asking him what he does for a living. And here, I wrote it down. He says, my business is earning money by providing a service.
I do remember that. It's even funnier in Portuguese.
Honestly, I'm guessing that might be a translation error, because that line makes no sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. It just describes every single occupation in the world.
Well, yes. I feel like maybe there was something else in Mandarin. The guy's just like, fuck it. He does stuff and he gets paid.
Lazy translator. I think what the term service actually meant was like bodyguard, because they use that numerous times. But yeah, I was kind of like, you do what now? I thought he was a prostitute, actually, because they said service.
He is at the brothel, so that would make some sense. Lee Ho and Tang fight Ho. He beats them, but he lets them go because he's a secret agent. Later on, when they all show up at the final climactic battle, Ho runs off to fight Pow, the weakest guy in the Evil Master's crew. Black and White have been killed. That happened earlier. It's like, why? Why does Ho go after that guy?
I didn't understand it. He just disappears. He was the one, he started the fight, and then he just disappears. And yeah, he's beating up on the comic relief of the movie. Pow, yes. He's incompetent. He's begging for his life, and he has no ability to fight. And Ho, which in Portuguese, it was translated as Po, by the way. So I called him Po.
Okay.
Po beats the crap out of him. It didn't make any sense.
It doesn't. And there has to be a reason for, now I want to call him Po, to leave that fight. Like, it's right there, because the old man is kidnapped in the scene before that. And they're like going back to rescue the old man. So have Ho/Po go after Pow because he's going to kill the old man and he has to go save him. just one line of dialogue to explain why he's going to leave that fight. Like, for the purposes of the movie, you do want to see just Lee Ho and Tang beat the evil master. And Ho shouldn't be in that fight. That's fine, but just give him a reason, especially because Ho is the best fighter. When the two of them team up against Ho, they lose.
Right.
And the evil master is so good at kung fu. His kung fu is unbeatable, they say.
Yep.
So you would want all three of them in that fight.
You could have taken Ho/Po out of the movie. You could have taken the MacGuffin of the 8 Jade Horses out of the movie. Now, it only would have been a 45-minute long movie, but maybe that would have been better. I don't know. You didn't need that. You had a good story. The revenge story is good.
I didn't quite understand the line. The bad guy, Lin Chang-Kao, he finds out that these two are alive, and he goes, "These two are my greatest enemy." How are they his biggest fear?
It's the classic villain move, though. He gets fixated on the wrong person. Like, you've already disabled the people. They shouldn't be your greatest threat anymore, but he's fixated on. They're the ones that got away, that he probably should have killed. It was the Austin Powers thing. He's just going to slowly torture them instead of, he could have just killed them, and he didn't.
Did that happen after they'd killed Black and White? If so, that gives him a reason to hate them.
Okay, that makes sense. Speaking of Black and White's deaths, I do like in this film how they depict death, because most of the people that die, it's some kind of suffocating or neck snapping, and I like how their faces immediately turn blue.
Who was the one that died in the tree? Was that Black or White? Somebody got basically strangled in a tree. You remember that scene?
I think that's White.
Okay. That was pretty cool.
Because Black is killed when Lee Ho strangles him with his toes or something.
Okay, there's something sort of ring around his neck or something like the lid of something. There was one of the guys dies with that. Yeah.
Oh, I don't think that's what kills him. I mean, that slows him down.
You were asking before, what do I think of the kung fu scenes? We talked about the ridiculous sound effect.
Thank you.
And the choreographed nature of it. But the bottom line is, there were so many cool things, like him twirling around the bow. I mean, just the guy with no legs, how he moved around on the ground and was able to lift himself up with his hands. The kung fu scenes were long. There were several minutes each, and they were, I thought, well choreographed, if not maybe slow and cheesy, but it was really cool. And that's what I remembered about the movie. I specifically remembered the ending scene where one guy is on the other guy's back. That's the only thing I remembered about the movie. And I was like, that was really cool. So whatever you think about the actual sound effects and the choreograph, it's still really interesting to watch these guys do what they actually can do, because they're real kung fu guys. They really do this in real life.
Yes, it is impressive watching them do kung fu. But there's a lot of kung fu fights where they're not there. It is just able-bodied people fighting each other, and those scenes are also very, very long. There's one where the evil master is beating up a guy whose school he wants to take, and that's just there to pad time. It doesn't affect the plot at all.
Well, no, it's not there to pad time. It's a kung fu movie. They want to show as much kung fu as possible.
Of course, but I'm just saying, those fights are, to me, boring and uninteresting. The fights where you see Lee Ho and Tang doing their incredible moves, yeah, sure, that is far more visually interesting than the other ones. And I just feel like I have to point out, there are a lot of other fights without Lee Ho and Tang.
I agree a little with Daron here. This is a kung fu movie, and more specifically, it's a 70s kung fu movie. Yeah, they'll have 25 minutes of fighting.
Do you guys think it was intended to be funny at all?
Some parts. They do have another sound effect that they use for comedy, which is kind of like a boing. It's not for punching, so it counts.
Can you do that more accurately, please? How does it sound?
I'm sorry. Boing.
When did that happen?
The one part I remember is after that scene I was talking about earlier with the well and the stones, and then Lee Ho ends up kind of hanging upside down, and then you hear the boing, and it kind of goes into a more campy kind of music. It sounds kind of cartoonish.
Right.
So that kind of annoyed me, because that was one time, and really it's the only time, where they're kind of making fun of the guys. It's kind of like, haha, look at this guy. He has no arm, so he's helpless here. I didn't personally find that funny, but I think that they are overall pretty respectful in terms of not doing that, not pointing at these guys and saying, haha, look at them. There's, I guess, some inherent comedy when they go back to the restaurant and they get revenge on the waiter who is mean to Lee Ho in the beginning. There's comedy with Pow, the right-hand man who loses his pants and has to run back to the evil master holding what's left of, the cloth on his butt. So they go for a couple of moments of comedy.
You talk about how the only time they treated him kind of disrespectfully is when he's hanging upside down. In fact, they actually, I think, do a great job of treating them with respect, showing the scene where the waiter, basically at the beginning when the guy with no arms goes in, he can't eat. He doesn't know how to eat. So he tries to eat it with his mouth, and the waiter just keeps on pulling it away like a jerk. And then later, they go back and get revenge, beat the crap out of everybody in the restaurant. Like, they're showing that when you make fun of these guys, they're going to fight back. And overall, I think the message is actually pretty strongly in favor of like, hey, here's how you should treat people like that.
That's true. And there are people, including the current president, who has said that he doesn't want to be around amputees because looking at them is depressing. I remember when I worked on Brink, the show I produced for Science Channel, we were pitching a thing on prosthetics, and the executive producer at the network, he said, no, it's depressing seeing amputees. That shit pisses me off. You guys know this, one of my best friends is a double amputee. Like, fuck that attitude, fuck that mentality. And yeah, fuck these guys in the restaurant in the movie. He pulls the chicken away, and he's doing that because the boss says, get rid of this guy. We don't want him here. It's bad for business. So,
right.
I mean, yeah, like that's a shitty attitude that some people do have, and he deserves his comeuppance.
You basically have to say this movie stands the test of the time. Otherwise, you agree with Trump.
Oh.
So do we want to go right to the conclusion here?
I guess we could ask you, Daron. Do you think 1979's The Crippled Masters stands the test of time?
You know what? I'm going to do something I've never done here before. I'm going to punt. I want to hear what you guys have to think because I could be swayed in either direction from my opinion. Al, go first.
Okay. I will say that this movie does not stand the test of time.
Boo.
I am not agreeing with Trump. I have no problem seeing amputees. I have no problem seeing people who are differently abled. Watching these two do what they do is incredibly impressive. And I loved it. If there was a YouTube highlight reel of these two guys doing incredible martial arts and it was, 5-10 minutes, I'd watch that. That's good content. But this as a movie, come on. It's barely a plot. There's no character development. There's no arcs. It's just fighting. Honestly, I do think that there is way too much of the fighting without these two that I found tedious. Even though maybe this very deliberate fighting style of punch, sound effect, pause, punch, sound effect, pause, punch, sound effect, pause. Honestly, it just made me think I was watching Streets of Rage or some old 1980s arcade beat 'em up game. I was not very impressed with it. The martial arts in Cobra Kai, that's far more impressive. Yeah, that's unfair. It's 50 years later, sure, but I really wasn't that impressed with this as a movie. These two guys, yes, I'm very impressed with them. I hope they're still alive and kicking ass and doing incredible things. I do not know, but I'm going to say that the movie doesn't stand the test of time. Do you want to go now, Daron, or should we kick it over to James?
Al loves Trump. James, go ahead.
Fucker.
I really don't like the title. The title is completely outdated. Now, I don't know. Honestly, I'm pleading ignorance here. If crippled was another word for handicapped.
I found something online today that said that the word crippled became offensive in the early 20th century.
Now, here's the other question. What is the word in Chinese? It very well could be a horrible mistranslation. It could be the Handicap Masters.
Right.
It could be an equivalent of that. The title as it is completely doesn't stand up. When I was a kid, I was very into Asian-inspired films, all these ninja films. There was a big ninja thing in the 80s. This is what they are, kind of. The plots are so razor thin. It's almost like an afterthought, like an ADR they could throw in the plot line. It's just a lot of fighting after fighting after fighting. I was incredibly impressed by some of the moves they made, and not just like, good for him for picking up the teat. No, I can't do the things these guys can do. I can't lift myself over parallel bars for 10 meters or something. That's incredibly impressive. And a lot of the things they were doing with the bow swinging, and the plot is so stupid, but the plots are always in these films so dumb. They usually are, in my experience. So I actually think it does stand up. It's just a weird martial arts film, a unique thing, and it's not the mean film that I thought it was going to be.
All right, so Daron, you said you were going to let our opinions influence you. James and I said pretty different things. Where do you land? Does this movie stand the test of time?
I think what James said is pretty spot on. It is what you're looking for in this type of movie. It is a kung fu movie. You're not looking for a great story. Although I'll reference back to movies like Rush Hour, even Cobra Kai. What is the plot? Do you really care about the plot?
I do.
Do you really? Is it a good? Is Rush Hour a good plot?
Wait a second. Hold on. If you love Rush Hour, then you agree with Trump.
Well, so I'm going to save that for my end of my review. So,
okay.
What James said is true. You're getting what you're going to get out of a kung fu movie. Sure, yes, the sound effects, terrible. The choreographed nature, I think, is more in line with what we see in current movies than we realize. I think if you watch Cobra Kai, it is very choreographed, and I think that's how it works. The story, if you take out the attempt at a plot and you just look at it as bad guy wrongs two people, they team up and they defeat him, that is a tried and true trope, right? A tried and true story. It works. I think you should have taken out the rest of it, honestly, and had more kung fu. Really, they treat these guys with respect. The kung fu scenes with them are amazing. They were fun to watch. When I started watching it, I said, oh no, why did I pick this movie? I had fun watching it. I was entertained. I didn't care about the plot. I enjoyed the kung fu scenes. I understand if you don't like kung fu, you're not going to like it. But I do, and I think it does. I think it stands up. I think if these guys are still alive, Rush Hour 4 is in their future.
No, Trump loves Rush Hour, but he hates amputees. Well, Daron, this was great. It was great having you back on. It's been too long. We love having you on the show. You should come back whenever you want.
Absolutely. I am only going to pick movies that put you in a no-win situation at the end, so I love it. This is fun.
I'm glad you had a good time. Maybe next time pick a movie with a less offensive title, if you wouldn't mind.
No.
I can't think of a movie with a more offensive title off the top of my head. I'm sure they exist.
Challenge accepted.
Oh, God. Oh, God, what have I done? Thank you again, Daron. This has been great. That's going to do it for us this week. Come back next week when we will be talking about Taxi Driver. Its 50th anniversary is coming up. That's going to be a great conversation. In the meantime, write to us. We are at Test of Time Pod on Facebook, X, Instagram, and Threads. If you've seen The Crippled Masters, let us know what you think of the movie. I'm guessing a lot of people haven't seen it, but hey, write to us anyway. Send us a message for our upcoming 500th episode, and we'll see you next time, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.